The betrayal. The rescue team arrived too early. Not with medics. Not with peace, but with guns already drawn. Sergeant Ray heard the rumble before he saw them. The lift chamber above roared open, and 6 armored soldiers dropped down silent, fast, and cold. Their visors glowed white. No words, no questions. Ray raised his hands. I sent the distress signal. This is Sergeant Ray, Earth Forces, Bravo Unit. The lead soldier didn't reply. He stepped forward and scanned the room. His voice came through Ray's cum. Target confirmed. Human alive. Alien still breathing. Ray narrowed his eyes. Wait, what do you mean, target? The soldier pointed at Jurak. Step away from the alien. Ray didn't move. Jurak tried to speak, but only a whisper came out. Ray looked at him, then back at the soldiers. You're not here to help. The commander removed his helmet. His face was clean, calm, and empty of emotion. You've uncovered a truth that's too dangerous. We're under orders to retrieve the Corps' memory and eliminate all witnesses. Ray's stomach dropped. Witnesses? I'm one of your own. Exactly, the man said coldly, and that makes it worse. Ray took a step back, standing between Jurak and the soldiers. Don't do this. The commander raised his weapon. You made a choice, Sergeant. Now so will we. A sharp silence filled the room. No one breathed. Then, suddenly, the lights cut out. Sparks flew from the core. The force field failed for a second. And in that second, the monsters returned, screeching, sliding, blades shining in the dark, the same nightmare creatures Ray had seen earlier now pouring into the chamber, like water through a broken dam. Chaos erupted. The soldiers opened fire. Screams filled the air. One was grabbed and dragged into the ceiling. Another was ripped apart by claws. Ray didn't think. He grabbed Jurak's sled and pulled him into cover behind the core. Jurak's eyes opened wide. They are drawn to energy. The core calls them. Ray looked at the dying alien. Can we shut it off? Jurak shook his head. Too late now. Ray peeked out. Only 3 soldiers left, and they weren't fighting the creatures anymore. They were aiming at him again. The commander shouted, "Give us the core data and walk away." Ray shouted back, "You walk away, or none of us leave here." He looked at the panel beside him. The overload sequence was still armed waiting. Jurak coughed. If they take the core, they will hide the truth again. Ray looked at the creatures circling, the dying soldiers, the flashing lights, and the half-broken alien beside him. So this was it. Not war between races, but between those who wanted to control the truth, and those willing to die for it. Ray grabbed a cable and ripped it from the wall. The screen flashed red. Final override activated. The commander screamed, "No!" Ray shouted back, too late. He dragged Jurak toward a broken side tunnel. Just enough time. Maybe. Above them, the core began to hum louder than before. The walls glowed. The ground cracked, and far above, in orbit, every satellite turned toward the planet, watching, recording, and listening. Humanity proven. The explosion never came. Not yet. Instead, the core began to sing. A deep, rising hum filled the underground base. It wasn't a sound of warning. It was a message. A voiceholder. Then war. A signal meant for the stars. Sergeant Ray pulled Jurak through the broken side tunnel. Behind them, the world was shaking. Lights shattered, metal cracked. And those shadow creatures, once unstoppable, were now screaming, covering their ears, fleeing back into the dark. Ray looked back. The 3 surviving soldiers were gone. Dead. Or worse. He held tighter to Jurak's sled. "Hold on, we're almost out," he said. His voice shook. Jurak, weak and half-conscious, opened one eye. "The core sent the warning?" Ray nodded. "It's going out now. To every ship, every base, every world." Suddenly, above them, a second signal came back. Not from Earth. Not. From the XARMAK. From deep space. Unknown origin. One word translated on Ray's visor. Received. Ray's breath caught. Someone, or something, was listening. He didn't know if they were friend or enemy, but they knew now. The secret was no longer buried. Then the ground split behind them. The chamber they escaped from collapsed into fire. The core, glowing brighter than a star, melted into light and was gone. Silence followed. Not the silence of death. The silence of a story finally told. Ray and Jurak lay at the edge of a cracked surface vent. The sun broke through a hole above. Real sunlight. Ray looked down at Jurak. It's over. Jurak gave a slow, tired nod. Not over, just beginning. Ray smiled faintly. You sound like a soldier again. I was always a soldier, Jurak said. I just forgot what I was fighting for. Moments later, dropships appeared in the sky, Earth flags on their sides. But this time, they didn't come with guns. Drawn, the Corps' message had gone viral. Every commander, every fleet, every screen had seen the truth. Ray raised his arms. Medics came running. A voice shouted, Sergeant Ray, you're alive. We thought, I know what you thought. Ray said. He pointed behind him. He comes with me. The lead officer hesitated. He's the enemy. Ray stood tall. No, he's the reason we're still alive. The officer looked at Jurak, then nodded slowly. Orders have changed. We're under review. Everything is. Ray looked around as medics lifted Jurak gently. Soldiers helped him onto a stretcher. The battlefield was gone. The base destroyed. But something new had begun. 3 days later, in a human medical station orbiting Earth, Ray sat beside Jurak's bed. The alien's legs would never move again, but he was alive, breathing, healing. News screen played nearby. Joint Council. Formed. First human Zarnak peace meeting begins today. Ray smiled. It started with war, but ended with a choice, not from generals, not from leaders. From one man. And one alien. Ray stood, turned to leave but paused. Jurak spoke softly behind him. Ray. The human turned. Jurak looked at him. You were not ordered to save me. I know, Ray said. That's why it mattered. And as he walked away, the camera outside the station turned upward, scanning the stars, where something ancient had heard Earth's warning and was now heading this way. But this time, humanity was ready, because one soldier had shown what it truly meant to be human. Ray opened a med pack, using everything he had left: injectors, healing foam, nanopatches. But it wasn't enough. The injury to Jurak's spine was killing him slowly. The alien opened one eye. His voice was weak. You should leave me. Ray didn't answer. You don't understand, Jurak said, breathing hard. This place ... changes people. Ray stood and looked around. I don't care. I'm not leaving you. Not now. He pulled the sled forward again, through a narrow hallway that glowed a sick green. Strange symbols lined the walls, none of them human. Suddenly, the hallway opened into another chamber. Ray gasped. At the center of the room floated a massive cube of light, humming softly. It was surrounded by wires that went into the walls like roots. It wasn't just power. It was alive. Jurak's eyes widened. He whispered, the core. Ray turned. What core? Jurak swallowed hard. Heart of the base. It controls everything. Weapons, doors, secrets. Ray stepped closer to it. The cube pulsed faster, reacting to him. A hidden panel slid open on the floor. Inside it, an old human helmet. Ray picked it up. His heart skipped. It belonged to a soldier who disappeared 3 years ago. They said he went Mia, but he came here. Ray muttered. The base had taken him. Ray looked at the cube. He could feel it staring back. Behind him, Jurak spoke again. His voice was clearer now. There is something deeper. Locked inside the lower levels. Even my people feared it. That's why this base was buried. Ray stared at the alien. You knew about this place all along? Jurak didn't deny it. I was sent here once, as a scout. I saw things I can never forget. Ray turned to the cube. I think this thing is waking up again. Suddenly, lights across the ceiling blinked red. ULERT. Unauthorized life form. Detected. Lockdown initiated. Doors slammed shut behind them. Heavy locks clicked in place. A loud bang echoed from far away. Something had been released. Ray grabbed his gun. We're not alone anymore. Jurak looked toward the dark corridor ahead. Enemy territory, he said quietly. But not your enemy, not mine, something else. Ray's grip tightened. They were trapped. Deep underground. In a base full of dead secrets and living nightmares. And now, something was hunting them. The choice, the message repeated again and again. And again. Human Sergeant Ray, your orders are clear. Leave the alien. You have 10 minutes to comply. The voice came from his helmet, cold, sharp, and emotionless. It wasn't a warning. It was a countdown. Sergeant Ray stood still, staring at the blinking message on his visor. His hands were shaking. Not from fear, but from the weight of what was coming next. Behind him, Jurak lay on the sled, barely alive. Breathing slow, skin cold. Ray turned the helmet off. Silence returned. But the choice stayed. The command was simple. Leave the alien. Return alone. Or be marked a traitor. He knew what that meant. He would lose his rank, his honor, maybe even face court-martial. But if he left Jurak, the alien would die alone in the dark. Ray took a deep breath and looked at the tunnel ahead. It led deeper into the base, into unknown danger. Red lights flickered across the walls. Strange sounds echoed from below, footsteps that didn't sound human or Zarnak. Jurak opened one eye and whispered, "Go, save yourself." Ray knelt beside him. "I didn't pull you out of that fire just to leave you in a hole." Jurak frowned. "You don't owe me anything." "I know," Ray said. "That's why it matters." He stood up and pulled out a flare. He tossed it ahead, and the tunnel lit up in red glow. The floor was broken. The walls were cracked. But something glittered at the end. A control panel. A way out. Or maybe something more. Ray started pulling the sled again. Each step was harder than the last. His legs ached. His back burned. But he didn't stop. Then, a sound, not a machine, not a voice. A growl, deep and wet, like something breathing with 2 lungs and 10 mouths. From the left tunnel, a shape moved. Ray froze. It was tall, thin, made of black armor, but melted in strange places. Its eyes glowed white. Its hands were sharp, like blades. It didn't walk. It slid. Jurak's voice cracked. "It's awake." Ray raised his gun, but the thing didn't attack. It just watched. The lights flickered again, and it was gone. Ray didn't speak. He just pulled faster. They reached the control panel. Ray tapped it. The screen came to life. Ancient alien language appeared, mixed with human code. A strange message flashed. One must stay, one must leave. Ray stared. The panel was a door control. It could open the lower chamber, but only with one life signal. It needed a choice. Jurak coughed. "It's a trap. The system is old. Built for tests, always a price." Ray's eyes narrowed. He could leave Jurak and escape. That was the easiest way. He could stay and send Jurak up. Maybe someone would find him, maybe not. Or he could break the system. He looked around and saw a broken drone near the wall. Its battery still had charge. Ray's eyes lit up. "I'm not playing this game," he said. He ripped out wires, connected them to his belt monitor, and tricked the panel. For a second, it blinked red. Then green. The door opened. A deep wind blew. From below, hot and thick, like something breathing fire beneath the ground. Ray looked back at Jurak. "You still with me?" The alien nodded slowly. "For now." Ray stepped into the darkness. He had made his choice. Not the one command wanted. Not the one the system allowed. His own choice. And somewhere deep below, something was waiting for him. Something ancient. Something watching. Asterisk secrets in the core. The walls were breathing, not like machines, not like life, something in between. Sergeant Ray stepped into the lower chamber, his boots sinking slightly into the strange metal floor. Every step made a soft hum, like the bass was reacting to his presence. Behind him, Jurak lay silent on the sled. He hadn't spoken for minutes. His skin was dull now, and his eyes stayed closed. Ray didn't know if he was sleeping or slipping. Away, the room ahead was vast, circular, covered in thick black cables that twisted like vines around glowing blue panels. At the center floated a giant sphere, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. Ray whispered, "What is this place?" Then Jurak opened his eyes. His voice was dry, weak but clear. "This is the core." Ray turned. "The power source?" Jurak shook his head slowly. "No, more than that. This is the truth, hidden from both our people." Ray approached the sphere. His visor scanned it, no match in any known database. The material was unknown, the energy was unstable, but the pattern was familiar. It was sending a signal to somewhere far away. Ray touched the control panel beneath it. The screen lit up. Strange code appeared, lines of alien language mixed with old human encryption. And then, a recording played. A hologram appeared above the panel. It showed a battlefield. Not this planet, another. Humans and Zarnak were fighting side by side, against something else. Tall creatures made of light and shadow, weapons made of sound. The war was quick and brutal. Then the recording ended with one sentence in both languages. "They are coming back." Ray's heart stopped. Jurak said nothing. Ray looked down at him. "You knew, didn't you?" Jurak didn't lie. "Yes." Ray clenched his fists. "You knew there was a bigger threat. But both our sides kept fighting each other." Jurak nodded. "Because fear is easier than truth." Ray looked back at the core. It was still sending a signal. But the direction was strange, outward, toward deep space. He whispered, "This base wasn't built to hide. It was built to warn." Suddenly, alarms blared. "Warning. Core breach detected. Hostile response incoming." Ray grabbed his rifle and looked around. What hostile response? From the shadows of the upper tunnel, something moved. Then another. Figures stepped forward, black armor, glowing eyes, long blade arms. Same as before, but now there were more. Ray fired once. The shot hit, but the creature didn't fall. It kept walking. Jurak reached out, weak but determined. "There's a failsafe under the core. Hidden control." Ray turned and saw a panel behind the sphere. He ran to it, opened the case, and found a key slot. Not for human hands. But maybe. He looked at Jurak. "Can you move your arm?" The alien groaned and tried. Barely. But it was enough. Ray carried him closer. Jurak pressed a symbol on the panel. The floor shook. From above, a shield dropped around the room, blocking the entrance. The creature screamed in anger, banging on the force field. Ray turned to Jurak. "What now?" Jurak looked at the sphere. "If we overload the core, it will destroy the base and send the full message." Ray hesitated. "If we do that, we both die." Jurak didn't blink. "But the galaxy will know the truth." Ray stood still. This was more than saving one alien now. This was about saving everyone human. Zarnak and whatever else was out there. He took a deep breath. "Then let's light the fire." The broken warrior. The battlefield was quiet. Smoke filled the air. The ground was covered in broken machines, burned bodies, and destroyed weapons. The war between humans and the Zarnak aliens had reached its worst day. Sergeant Ray moved slowly through the wreckage. His uniform was torn and his helmet had a crack. He looked around, searching for any sign of life. His team had already left. They believed no one was left alive. But Ray was not so sure. Then he heard it, a strange sound like a soft growl, mixed with a cough. He turned fast, pointing his rifle. "Who's there?" he shouted. There was no answer. He stepped forward, pushing away some metal pieces. Underneath, he saw something large. Something moving. It was an alien. A Zarnak warrior. Its body was covered in green, scaly skin. Its armor was damaged, and blood was leaking from its chest. The alien tried to lift its arm, but failed. Its eyes met Ray's eyes, full of pain, fear, and something else. Ray froze. This was the enemy. Every soldier had orders. Do not help the Zarnak. They are dangerous. They do not show mercy. But this one was not fighting. He was dying. Ray looked around. No one was watching. No one would know. He stepped closer. The alien didn't speak, but blinked slowly, as if asking for help. Ray's radio cracked. A voice came through. "Sergeant Ray, report back. Leave the area. No survivors expected." Ray didn't answer. He looked at the alien again. Its lower body was crushed under heavy metal. It couldn't move. Ray took a deep breath. "I should walk away," he whispered, "but I won't." He knelt beside the alien. "You can't move, can you?" he asked. The alien blinked once. Ray pulled out a small scanner. It beeped and showed a red warning. The alien's spine was broken. He would never walk again. Ray frowned. He didn't know why, but he couldn't leave him here. "I don't care what they say," Ray muttered. "You're not just some monster. You're a soldier, like me." Using all his strength, Ray pushed the metal off the alien's body. It took time. His hands bled. His back ached. But finally, the alien was free. Ray looked at the alien's name tag, written in strange symbols. He read it slowly. "Jurak, is that your name?" The alien blinked again. Ray nodded. "All right, Jurak. I'm going to get you out of here." He tore parts from a broken ship and made a small sled. He pulled Jurak onto it and tied him down carefully. Then the ground shook. Ray looked up. Enemy drones were flying overhead. There. Red lights scanned the area. Ray pulled the sled behind a pile of scrap. "Stay quiet," he whispered. The drones passed, but just barely. Ray sighed in relief. That was close. He started walking again, dragging Jurak through fire, dust, and broken buildings. Every step was hard. His legs were tired, but he didn't stop. Night came. The air grew cold. Ray made a small fire and gave Jurak some water. The alien didn't drink much, but his eyes never left Ray. "You're wondering why I'm helping you," Ray said. "To be honest, I don't know either." He looked at the sky. "I had a friend once," Ray said quietly. "During training, he was from another world. Everyone else hated him. But he saved my life. After that, I promised I wouldn't judge someone just because they were different." Ray looked back at Jurak. "You're not just an alien. You're a warrior. You fought for your people. And now, you're alone." Suddenly, the radio cracked again. "Sergeant Ray, respond. Last warning. Leave the area. Do not assist enemy life forms." Ray turned off the radio. He stood up and stared into the distance. There was still a long way to go. His own people would call him a traitor. He might not make it out alive. But he didn't care. He looked down at Jurak and whispered, "I'll get you out of here, even if it kills me." In the darkness, with only stars above and danger all around, a human and an alien warrior lay side by side. One broken in body, the other tired in soul, but both still alive. And somewhere in the distance, something was watching. Asterisk escaped through fire. The sky turned red. Flames rose from the east where a fuel tank had exploded. Ash rained from above like black snow. Sergeant Ray opened his eyes. He had only slept for a few minutes. The air smelled like smoke and death. Jurak, the alien warrior, lay silent beside him. His breathing was weak. His eyes were closed, but his hand twitched now and then, as if he was dreaming of battle. Pain. Ray stood up and looked around. They couldn't stay here, not anymore. The drones were coming back. He heard the hum soft. At first, then louder. 3 red dots danced across a distant wall. Searchlights. Ray's heart jumped. We need to move, now. He grabbed the rope tied to the sled and began pulling Jurak across the rubble. His boots slipped on broken glass. Fire blocked the main path. He coughed, but didn't stop. Behind them, the drone scanned every crack and shadow. Suddenly, a voice echoed from Ray's helmet speaker. Human unit detected. Orders: eliminate and recover. Ray cursed. The drones had found them. He ran toward a collapsed tunnel. Just ahead, a dark gap led into the ruins of an old alien base abandoned years ago during the first battles of the war. No one dared enter. It was said to be cursed, but Ray had no choice. He pulled Jurak into the tunnel just as the drones fired. Sparks flew. Rocks exploded behind them. The entrance collapsed, burying the drones outside. Darkness swallowed them. Ray turned on his flashlight. Dust floated in the air. The walls were made of silver metal, strange symbols glowing faintly along the edges. The place felt cold, alive almost. Jurak opened one eye. This place. Bad, he whispered in a weak voice. Ray looked at him. You know it? Jurak nodded. Old base, full of things. Forgotten. Ray didn't ask more. He didn't want to know, not yet. He helped Jurak drink a little water, then dragged the sled deeper into the tunnels. His flashlight flickered once, then again. He smacked it. It stayed on. Strange noises echoed in the distance, clicking sounds, like metal legs on stone. And whispering. Or maybe that was just in his head. They moved past a broken control room. The glass was shattered. Inside, machines blinked slowly like dying stars. One of them lit up as Ray passed. Unknown human life form detected. Warning. Base systems unstable. Ray frowned. Yeah, no kidding. Jurak coughed hard. Blood dripped from the side of his mouth. Ray stopped and checked him. His skin had turned pale green. We need shelter, Ray muttered. He found a small storage room, blocked the door with debris, and set Jurak down gently. He ripped open a first aid kit and started treating Jurak's wounds. The alien winced but didn't make a sound. Ray looked at him. Still fighting, huh? You're tougher than you look. Jurak gave a weak smile, just for a second. Then from the darkness beyond the door came a deep, low growl. Ray froze. The sound came again. Closer. Slow. Heavy. Not drone. Not human. Something else. Ray grabbed his rifle and moved to the door. He saw shadows, long, twisted shadows moving just outside the blocked entrance. He didn't fire. Not yet, whatever it was. It was sniffing. Then the voice came again. Jurak's voice. This place has guards, not machines, not alive, not dead. Ray looked back at him. What does that mean? Jurak stared at the ceiling. They protect the secret. Ray whispered, what secret? Jurak didn't answer. Outside, the growling stopped. For now, Ray turned off his light and sat down next to the alien. His hands trembled, not from fear, but from questions. What had he walked into? Why did this broken alien warrior know so much about a place humans had forgotten? And why did Ray feel like something important was waiting in the dark? He looked at Jurak, this enemy, now his only companion. In that moment, Ray realized something. He was no longer just trying to save an alien. He was running towards something bigger than both of them. A secret buried in fire, guarded by nightmares, and He had already crossed the point of no return. Asterisk enemy territory wasn't a scream. It was worse. A low, wet sound echoed through the tunnel. Not machine, not animal. Something in between. Something that was never meant to be heard by living ears. Sergeant Ray stopped moving. Behind him, the sled with Jurek scraped against the metal floor. The alien warrior was unconscious again, sweat pouring from his brow. Body shaking. Ray slowly aimed his rifle at the darkness ahead. He had seen war. He had fought in deserts, cities, and orbiting space stations. But this place was different. He was now deep inside an abandoned alien base, miles below the surface. A place once used for experiments, maybe torture. Even Jurek, a warrior of the enemy, had warned him. This base was sealed for a reason. Ray moved forward. The air was thicker here, like it was fighting him, pushing against every breath. Pipes hissed quietly above his head. The walls were alive with dim, pulsing lights that seemed to breathe. As he entered a large chamber, he froze. The room was round, with shattered glass pods lined against the walls. Inside the cracked glass were strange, twisted remains, part machine, part flesh, failed weapons, experiments that had gone wrong. Ray whispered, "What were you people doing down here?" Jurek groaned behind him. Ray ran back, checking him. His skin had turned pale blue. Not a good sign.